All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining us this morning. My name's Eli Khan. I'm a Principal Product Manager for AWS Security Hub. And we have a few other speakers today. We have Scott Ward, who's a Principal Solution Architect with the partner team at AWS. And then we snuck in last minute 2 customer speakers, folks that are actually using Security Hub. They're going to talk about their customer use cases. And we have Rob Morris, who's a cloud engineer from Northwestern Mutual, and Jason Fuller, who's the head of cloud management. Okay, it sounds like we're having audio issues. Can folks hear me okay? Okay. All right. And lastly, we have Jason Fuller, who's the head of cloud management operations at Here Technologies. So today, I'm going to do a quick overview of what is Security Hub, and then I'm going to hand it over to our customers, Jason and Rob, who are going to dive into their use cases. And then I'm going to hand it over to Scott, who's going to do a deep dive into how to configure Security Hub to take action on the alerts and findings that we're bringing in and generating. Scott's going to wrap up with a demonstration, and then we're going to tell you how to get started with Security Hub. There are some related workshops. A few of these actually happened yesterday. We have one more today. So we have a hands-on workshop with Security Hub, and that's happening this morning, later this morning, 11:15. So if you're interested in spending an hour or so actually working hands-on keyboard with Security Hub, configuring it, setting it up with integrations with our partners, please come by that workshop. All right, so let me jump into Security Hub. First, why did we build out Security Hub? Really 4 problem statements drove our build out. The first one is we talk to customers, oftentimes customers in regulated industries, and they have very large backlogs of new compliance rules that they want to develop, but they haven't had time to develop. So when you look at the major compliance frameworks out there, whether those are NIST, HIPAA, PCI, et cetera, these are all high-level control frameworks. Someone, historically it's been the customer, has to go through these control frameworks and figure out how to translate those high-level controls to specific logic or rules and align them to all the relevant AWS resources. This takes time and effort. You know, customers we talk to have backlogs of a few hundred rules that they just haven't had time to get to. Secondly and thirdly, customers have lots of security alerts in lots of different formats. A typical customer might have anywhere from 5 to 20 different security tools protecting their AWS environments. Each of those tools spits out alerts in a different format, and security engineers are spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours parsing and normalizing those alerts to get them into a common format so that they can be easily searched and analyzed. Secondly, or thirdly, I should say, customers have thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of alerts. Our top customer, our biggest customer with Security Hub, is sending out to Security Hub 1 million alerts per day. Obviously, as you're getting to those higher numbers, higher volumes of alerts, you need tooling to help you prioritize and really figure out which alerts are most important for you to take action on and which resources that underlie those alerts urgently need your attention. And then lastly, folks want an integrated view, and I think about this across 2 dimensions. They want an integrated view across all their accounts. So large customers can easily have hundreds, maybe even thousands of accounts. They want to consolidate their view of their security compliance issues across all those accounts. And then the second dimension is across both security and compliance issues. Historically, customers have had to go to different tools to see their security state versus their compliance state. With cloud and AWS in general, security and compliance are highly intertwined. If you look at the major causes of data breaches, it's usually because a resource has not been securely configured. So security professionals certainly have a vested interest in understanding their compliance state. So that's why we built AWS Security Hub. Security Hub you can get started with just a single click from the management console. It's a very low friction startup process. One click will enable Security Hub for a single account, and then you can run a script that we link to in our console to run it across all accounts in all regions. Once you get started with that single click, we start immediately and automatically ingesting security alerts from your key AWS security services, such as GuardDuty, Macie, and Inspector. And we've integrated with 30 different partner products. And the really powerful part about all these integrations on both the AWS and the partner side is that all those products are sending their alerts to Security Hub in a normalized format, a standard common format. We call that the AWS security finding format. So as a customer, you don't have to do any parsing normalization. That's all taken care of by our integrations further upstream. We also have the capability called Insights. Insights are essentially saved searches, and these help you understand which resources have the most problems. We have about 25 prepackaged insights, and you can easily customize these without having to learn a new query language and even develop your own from scratch. So that's one big bucket of functionality with Security Hub. We think about that as alert prioritization. The other big bucket of functionality is around automated compliance checks. And so we've been developing compliance checks around compliance standards. The first compliance standard that we've rolled out is the Center for Internet Security, CIS, AWS Foundation's benchmark. And that consists of 43 controls, and we do continuous automated compliance checks against each of those controls. We have a number of additional compliance standards coming out later this year, so stay tuned for those. And over the near future, we'll have full coverage across all the major compliance frameworks. We're not just a dashboard for this information, we also help you operationalize this information. We operationalize it via our integration with CloudWatch events. So all of our alerts are also sent out as CloudWatch events to that CloudWatch message bus. And you can easily connect up those events to other destinations. So you can use our integrations with CloudWatch events to send findings to ticketing systems, to chat systems, to on-call management systems, to SIMs, and even remediation workflows. And Scott's going to go into that in more detail and show you how we've actually simplified that process. All of our partners that are in the response remediation space have built out CloudFormation templates that you can run and automatically set up the relevant CloudWatch event rules. So hopefully folks saw this announcement yesterday. It actually went out on Monday night, but we went GA this week, which was really exciting. We were preview. We launched this public preview at reInvent last year, and over the last 6-7 months, we've been iterating with the customers. Folks may have seen in the press release, we're around 3,000 customers. We've ingested over 150 million alerts from those different customers, and yeah, as of this week, we're now GA. GA means, one of the things it means is that we now rolled out a pricing plan, and that pricing plan is available on our website and in our console. All customers that were part of the preview and anyone new that enables Security Hub will have a 30-day free trial. And that, as part of that free trial, we have a really nice usage page that allows you to estimate what your monthly costs will be based on your free trial usage. Two major pricing dimensions, one around compliance checks. This pricing around compliance checks mirrors the new config rule pricing that's rolling out August 1st. We use a lot of config rules under the covers for our compliance checks. We use some other things as well, but config is a big part of our solution. And the other pricing dimension is around finding ingestion events. So every time we ingest a finding or alert from a AWS product or a third-party product, that is a finding ingestion event. And we designed our data ingest pricing dimension to be quite inexpensive. The first 10,000 findings that we ingest per account, per region, per month are free. And then above that, it's $3 for every 100,000 findings you ingest. Let's see here. We added a number of additional things For our GA launch, we've started sending all findings out as CloudWatch events. We've made a number of improvements to our CIS compliance standard. We've added tag-based access controls and cost allocation, CloudFormation support, and a number of performance improvements. We're a global, we're available in all global regions, all except for Stockholm. Stay tuned on that. You'll be seeing something quite soon on that. But you can use Security Hub throughout the world. All right. So I mentioned partner integrations. We have 30 of them now, and I think about them in two big categories. We have partners that are sending us alerts, and that consists of the firewall vendors, the vulnerability vendors, endpoint compliance, MSSP, and some of these other vendors. And then we have partners that are taking findings from Security Hub and helping you respond or remediate to those findings. And those vendors in that taking action category consist of SIM vendors, on-call management, ticketing, chat, and SOAR type platforms, security orchestration, automation, and response. All of those taking action vendors, as I mentioned, have CloudFormation templates that help automate the setup. But all these vendors, the setup has been designed to be quite simple. The minimum bar is that you have a CloudFormation template. That should take no more than 15 minutes to get up and running with that integration. Many of these vendors, such as Alert Logic and Armor and Dome9 and Redlock, Palo Alto Redlock, which has now been rebranded as Prisma, those are all 1 or 2 clicks from the consoles of those partner integrations. So 1 click to get us started, and oftentimes just another couple of clicks to integrate partners. We've also integrated with some open source tools, in particular Cloud Custodian, which is an open source cloud compliance project originally created by Capital One. So you can integrate Security Hub with open source tools. You can also integrate Security Hub with your own custom alerts or findings. So if you have your own custom alerting mechanisms via Lambda or other mechanisms, you can also bring those into Security Hub. All right, so customer use cases. To kick that off, we are working with lots of different customers, both really big customers, some of our largest customers that use AWS, and also smaller customers that, frankly, are one-person security shops, or in some cases, even one person who's in charge of IT and security. So we've designed Security Hub to be simple enough for our smallest customers, but have the extensibility for our largest customers to build out customizations and build out more complex workflows using Security Hub. We have 3 major use patterns in terms of how we see our customers using Security Hub. The first use pattern is around a centralized workspace to deal with your compliance and security issues. So in this case, it's oftentimes a cloud center of excellence that has a very specific AWS perspective or focus, or perhaps that one-person security shop that just focuses on AWS. But in either case, these folks want a console that they can go to and work through their security and compliance issues. They're hooking up Security Hub to their ticketing, to their chat, to their remediation platforms, and they're using Security Hub as their single pane of glass that they're going to each day to look at their security and compliance posture and work through it. The second use pattern is where a customer already has made a large investment in a SIM, a security information and event management tool. They're centralizing all of their alerts, not only from AWS, but also perhaps from their on-prem infrastructure. In this case, they're primarily an API user of Security Hub. So they're routing all of the alerts or findings from Security Hub to their SIM. They're still getting a lot of value from Security Hub because we're doing that parsing and normalization of the data. We're making it really easy to gather all of your alerts from a central place. And we're doing the automated compliance checks, which you wouldn't get from a SIM. Lastly, in the third use pattern, this is not mutually exclusive to the first two. Oftentimes we see customers doing this third use pattern in combination with one of the first two use patterns. But in this case, they really want to enable their account owners for more proactive control of their security and compliance posture. They're giving their account owners read-only access into Security Hub so that the account owners can see what their posture is, and then even connect it up with ticketing and chat systems so those account owners can interact and interface with the security teams as they identify things that might be an issue. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rob. Rob is going to talk about a little more specific about his use case at Northwestern Mutual. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rob Morris. I'm a cloud engineer at Northwestern Mutual. What is Northwestern Mutual? We're a large financial services company based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Got to go to my slide there. Obviously, being a financial services institution, we're under a number of compliance and regulatory requirements, and always looking for tools that can help us, automate and visualize that across our environment. Within our company, we have several different business units, and on our journey to the cloud, as of right now, we're at around a little over 100 AWS accounts that are utilized by a number of those different business units within our company. We identified Security Hub as something that will allow us to continuously monitor our compliance across all of those accounts and business units. So it's something we've been testing out for the last couple months. Right now, it's something that we enabled as part of our account creation process. For those of you that are familiar with guard duty, the setup for Security Hub is very similar, where you have a master account, and then you kind of invite all those member accounts to the master, and that's kind of how everything's hooked up. And like I said, we're doing that when we create new accounts now. So in terms of our environment and what Security Hub provides for us, obviously operations and services vary across all of our accounts with these different business units that are utilizing different AWS services and different methods of provisioning and operations. And then obviously engineering and security teams are accountable for the overall compliance of all the accounts. Even though other people are actually operating in those, we kind of need to know where we stand at all times. And then along with that, obviously like the self-service aspect of this, so the account owners can track their own progress, is huge. And now with those 3 points, kind of what Security Hub has provided for us, one thing we are looking into is rolling out a combination of managed and custom AWS config rules to track our compliance against CIS AWS Foundation's benchmark. And then we were going to have to come up with a way to visualize that. Obviously, this is when Security Hub came out in a preview state, and this kind of allowed us to roll all of that out, just kind of out of the box. Really just some CloudFormation templates, as Eli alluded to, that allowed us to get this rolled out. There are some good examples in the AWS Labs public GitHub organization with some scripts that you can kind of take a look at and modify and see how to roll out Security Hub easily to your accounts. That's something that we adapted and, like I said, fit into our process. Obviously, after we have all those CIS AWS Foundation checks enabled, Security Hub in our master account gives us that centralized view across the 100+ accounts. In the past, we might have had to write some type of custom script or some custom dashboard that would allow us to see all this in an aggregated format, but Security Hub is able to do that for us automatically. And then to the self-service point, us as the engineering, as the platform engineering team, we're able to see that across all the accounts. But then the individual owners that are accountable for the compliance of each individual account, they can also go into Security Hub in their account and see their compliance at any time. So kind of how we're currently using it, like I mentioned, it's rolled out to all of our accounts, and all the findings are pushed to our master account. Those are findings from obviously AWS Guard Duty, Macy, and then the what are pretty much config rules for the CIS AWS foundations. That all flows into the master account. We also have partner integrations, which Eli also alluded to. We're able to set that up and provide a role where the partner integrations can actually send their own findings to Security Hub with the security findings format, which is something that's documented. That's that common format that they were talking about. Another thing that we're looking into doing in the future that we just kind of experimented with at this point is kind of in the bottom right down there. We have this, internal auto remediation tooling. That's something that we would like to fit into the security findings format and send that to Security Hub. So when something's auto remediated, an account owner would be able to see that next to their CIS compliance for their individual account. We want to get to that point where Security Hub will be, the single source of truth for an account owner's security posture. And then we've also used custom actions. This is another thing that you can find out there on public GitHub. There's a good reference architecture on how to set this up, where through the Security Hub console, you can take a specific finding and trigger a custom action, and you can send that to your internal messaging channel or something like that to notify an appropriate party on a certain finding that was found within Security Hub. So that's pretty much how we're using it. Thank you.
Cool. Oh, thanks. Hey, how's everybody doing? A little different for me. I've never done the disco thing with everybody with the headset, so I'm hoping things aren't going to go yellow to red or blue or something in the middle of this. But my name is Jason Fuller. I'm the head of cloud management and operations for a company called Here Technologies. For those of you who don't know about Here, we are the #1 location services company in the world. We host the only global map. We also have a lot of other great data, so my marketing people did a great job with this slide. But the big thing to note is we're in the high-tech industry. We utilize a ton of AWS, so we are on top of hundreds of accounts. We are doing millions of unique instances. We are doing billions of Lambda. And when it comes into how to then operate in a market like what Rob was just talking about, if we sell location services to a fintech company, we have to be able to comply with the fintech regulators, right? So oftentimes we get into these big conversations about how would we take our AWS teams and how would we take our product teams and merge them into a compliant, is that a whole nother AWS account? Was that some other way to do this? And so Security Hub for me has been a long time coming. Eli and I have talked a lot about this. I've been working with AWS for 10 years at a number of enterprises, and you just need this in your ecosystem. So I'll give you an example from a Here technology perspective. So this is a marketing slide, of course, so there's no tech here, so take it up to a more of a macro level view of a platform. So our open location platform today is up. Third-party developers can join this platform. They can get access to all sorts of great data, OEM data from, say, your automotive industry, or LiDAR data coming off of some of our 400-plus cars that are constantly mapping 700,000 endpoints per second off the car. We drive all this into a data with a data mart. We have a developer environment platform foundation, and then we build services on top. So when you have a solution like this where there's all sorts of different industries, different endpoints coming into a platform to produce an experience where you have to have secure, you're bringing your code, so you're trusting us a lot. There's a lot of security involved in that. If I take this and I pivot it a little bit from, say, your normal slide that they like and put this in place now, your foundation and your marketplace and other things, we're a huge 360 customer with Amazon. We do a lot of Amazon business to Amazon. We do a lot of consumer of Amazon. We buy all the good things, right? So we've been on guard duty pretty much. GDPR was the big kind of kick the can over the line. But end of the day, we've been involved with AWS and that solution. We're a huge fan of organizations, and so when we looked at our AWS accounts and said, okay, SOC 2, okay, what accounts are in scope? All right, how are we going to organize them in an OU? All right, how are we going to do these things? And Security Hub, comes along with Security Hub last year. We said, this is great. This is perfect. We have a dashboard. We have a way to do compliance. We're a huge fan of Cloud Custodian. If you guys haven't looked at that product, I suggest you go look at it today. So the model that we're going to be following is very similar to what Eli pointed out. We take in compliance checks and alerts. We review them against whatever external checkboxes we have. As the application DevSecOps pipeline is constantly deploying software every day, dropping into maybe our third-party overlay network, dropping into other security boundaries that we've already set up from automation at organizations level. But now what we're getting is Security Hub can say, yes, you're still compliant. So imagine a day where you don't have to take a whole week off with your engineers to sit with your internal audit team to say, okay, here's our control mapping. Last year we were here, we said we do these things. Do we still do these things? Where's the evidence? Okay, Jira ticket X, Splunk platform Y, it's now part of their DNA. So when you talk about security as product or security built in or security as part of you, we see this as an absolute win because my internal auditors will be watching, they're watching, and you're able to maintain that same level of security that you need. So your kind of broad across the industries becomes a wide open network, in my opinion. You can take things into government, you can take things into PCI a lot easier because now you're trusting that these checkboxes are being checked, and Security Hub really enables that. So we love the product. I'm available for questions after if you have any. Eli? Or are we going to go to Scott? There you go. Awesome. Take action deep dive. Thank you.
Just that guy. Awesome. Thanks. It's also super great to have our customers come up here and hear what they think about our products and our services. I'm Scott Ward, Principal Solutions Architect with AWS. I work on our partner team, and specifically I work with our security technology partners, and I work with them on the things that they're building to help our customers meet their security goals when they're running on AWS. We're going to take a few minutes here and dive a little bit deeper into the taking action portion of Security Hub and kind of show you how that works and some things that you can do, and then I'll wrap it up with a live demo of the overall Security Hub environment and also give a few taking action examples there. So let's start with what taking action looks like and how that works at a high level in Security Hub. So you start off with, you've got Guard Duty, Inspector, and Macy, AWS services that are sending data into Security Hub, and then you have all your third-party providers, all those partners that Eli showed us earlier. So they all are sending various security findings into Security Hub. And then Security Hub has an integration with CloudWatch events. So Security Hub automatically sends a copy of every finding it receives into CloudWatch events. So that goes into CloudWatch events, and then you can construct rules in CloudWatch events to match the patterns of the findings that are coming in, and you can then send those off to targets. And your targets in CloudWatch events can be a variety of AWS services. It could be a Lambda function, it could be simple notification service, simple queue service, it could be a Kinesis stream, it could be a run command. There's a lot of different options as far as where you can send that message. And that gives you a lot of options as far as how you actually treat that message, whether you do something with it on your own, or whether you use that as a bridge to get that data off to a third-party provider. So when we talk about taking action, I want to highlight some partners who have leaned in significantly around that taking action. We've been working with these partners over the last few months. They provide functionality in the ticketing, the SOAR, the chat space, allowing you to consume this data out of Security Hub and do something with it, to fold it into your operational and your security procedures, and to do something, start focusing on automation around these events that are coming out of your system, allowing you to actually be able to scale and be able to address things quickly. All of these partners have provided CloudFormation templates that will allow you to configure the integration between Security Hub and the partner products, so wiring up that CloudWatch event, getting that routing on to the appropriate endpoint or the appropriate service so that they can consume that data and let you use it in their particular product. So we talk about taking action on findings. We have the CloudWatch events integration, and so this is a screenshot of CloudWatch events. You're going to go in there, you're going to choose a name of Security Hub. You're going to choose an event type, whether you choose custom action or imported. So custom action is being something that you initiate from the Security Hub console, and we'll talk about that in a minute, versus imported is just going to be all of the findings, a finding that's automatically flowed in from Security Hub. And then this is an example of a JSON that you would construct in CloudWatch events to actually match for a particular event. Now you can go very high level and say, I just want all events, and you can remove any level of detail from the JSON at all. Or you can put some detail in that matches up with content that would be in the Security Hub finding, allowing you to match your rules and send that on to the appropriate target based on what matters to you. So in this example, I've actually built a filter that is looking for tags. In this case, I care about anything that's in my PCI environment. I'm going to treat that with extra special care. I'm going to route that onto a particular target to prioritize that or get that into somebody's hands a lot faster than maybe some of my other security findings. Another example, I might want to just filter by severity. So in this case, Security Hub has a severity score of a 0 to 100, and I want to have something that happens based on the highest severity findings coming out of Security Hub. So here I've actually built a filter that allows me to filter on the top 6 highest security findings that Security Hub would offer to me. So once again, allowing me to send that on to a particular target and allowing me to prioritize and do something a lot faster with those particular findings. So we hear our customers talk about, they're using custom actions in Security Hub. So custom actions are a way for you as a customer that while you're in Security Hub to selectively choose one or many findings and choose which action you would like to happen with those findings. When you choose a custom action, that sends it on to CloudWatch events as well, and it routes on, and we'll talk what that configuration should look like. This is an example of what a custom action looks like. It's pretty straightforward. You have a name, a description, and a resource name, an ARN, which you're going to use in a minute. And when you go set it up, you're going to send up your name, description, and then action ID. That action ID at the bottom is what's used to construct the Amazon resource name that specifies your specific custom action. So now we've got our custom action defined in Security Hub. So the way this flow is going to work, you have your custom action that when you choose it, it's going to flow down to CloudWatch events, match a particular rule, and go out the door to a particular target. In this case, we're using the simple notification service, and then we're going to use that to send out an email. So for the CloudWatch event rule, our event pattern is going to look like this. I'm going to have a source of Security Hub, and I'm going to set a resource of that ARN of the custom action that I defined in Security Hub. So that will make sure that anytime I choose that action, this will allow me to make sure that I can route the results of that action onto a very specific target. And I can have lots of different configurations there. I can have a custom action that goes to a Lambda function. I can go to a Kinesis data stream. I can also have a custom action that goes onto multiple targets. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one mapping. I could actually have a custom action that sends to a simple notification service and to a run command, if that was a type of thing that I knew that I wanted to have multiple things happen on it. I can also have multiple custom actions in Security Hub. So if there are different things that I want to do, or I have different people that might be in Security Hub and need to do different things, I can have multiple actions defined, allowing them to do what makes sense to them when it comes to the work that they're doing in Security Hub. Okay, so with that, I'm going to give a tour of Security Hub in general, as well as show you what it looks like to do custom actions inside Security Hub. So when you first come into AWS and you want to start using Security Hub, you're going to come to the Security Hub console, and you're going to be able to immediately turn on Security Hub. You're going to have a Get Started, one button to go to Security Hub, and then one button to enable Security Hub. There are some service permissions that are going to be put in place that is granting Security Hub the ability to get data from GuardDuty, Macie, and Spectre, and to call CloudWatch events. And you can see those permissions right here if you want to see them before you actually go and enable Security Hub. One-click button to enable Security Hub, and you are able to start using Security Hub right away. So very easy to get started with Security Hub. So when you get to Security Hub, you're going to be presented with this summary dashboard to start with. And on that dashboard is a quick tour here. You're going to have a listing of insights, giving you the ability to maybe go to some particular insights, and we'll talk about what insights are in a minute. They're nothing more than some safe searches. Giving you some visibility into a collection of insights, some visibility into the last time that Guard Duty Macier Inspector actually sent data in to Security Hub. When you turn on Security Hub, within about 5 minutes, you will be able to start receiving findings from Guard Duty Macier Inspector if you have them turned on in your account already. You'll see your summary of your compliance standards, as well as the resources that have the most failed checks for your compliance standards, and we'll dive into the compliance standards here in a minute. And then you'll see some graphical representations of some curated, selected insights on this dashboard as well, giving you a more graphical representation over time of how some of your saved searches are looking when it comes to Security Hub. A couple things I want to start with here is the settings. Let's talk about accounts. So we talked about the ability, you can actually have multiple accounts that are sharing findings into Security Hub. So if anybody's used Guard Duty and its multi-account functionality, it's the same thing. You can have one AWS account that you've designated as your master Security Hub account, and then you can invite other accounts in your organization to share a copy of their findings into your central Security Hub account. That gives you the visibility to be able to see all of your security events and your security findings across all of your AWS accounts in one location. So the way this works is you're just going to go into here into Add Accounts. You're going to enter an account ID. You're going to give an email address. And you're just going to use Add. So you can build out a list. See here, Add. Of accounts that you want to add, and then you go to Next, and you can an invitation will actually be sent to that account owner. They'll accept the invitation, and then the status will change to enabled. If you have many accounts, so if you're going Security Hub for the first time and you have lots of accounts that you want to add all at once, you can actually upload a CSV that'll have a list of all the account numbers and the owner email addresses of those accounts. Upload them all at once, and Security Hub will take care of sending invitations out all at once for you as well. We also have the ability we talked about custom actions. You can define your custom actions in the setting here, so we can see I've got many custom actions defined. Defining a custom action, we showed the screenshot before, but it's very straightforward. You're going to provide a name, a description, and an ID of that custom action. And it will then register, and it will give the resource name, which we will use in our CloudWatch events rule definition to enable our actions to route to the right target. You can also, those third-party partners who are sending findings into Security Hub, you can actually enable the integration with those partners right here in Security Hub. So this is going to allow you to search on all of the partners who have been approved and have gone through the process to onboard into Security Hub, and allow you to turn on and enable those integrations. And when you enable that integration, what that's doing is it's putting a resource policy in place in Security Hub that is then allowing that partner with their ID to be able to send findings on your behalf into Security Hub. So for example, I will pick one that is not enabled. We'll take the CyberArk example here. I will click Enable Integration. It will show me a copy of the policy, the resource policy that is being put in place to allow CyberArk to send findings in, and I will enable that. And then if I ever want to turn off that integration, I can always go here and disable integration. That will immediately stop them from being able to send findings in. If they've provided it here, you also have the ability to view configuration information, which will take you to the configuration guide for that partner and show you, here's how you enable the configuration into Security Hub for that partner. And if they're on the AWS Marketplace, they'll give you a purchase link that you can actually go in if you're not using that partner today, to actually go and subscribe to that partner product. All right. Next, let's talk about compliance standards. So we saw on the summary screen that we have the Center for Internet Security is the current compliance standard that we are monitoring for our customers. So when you come into the compliance standards, we're going to give you a little bit of a dashboard that shows you what's your compliance score. And this is going to be against all of the AWS accounts that you have currently linked with Security Hub. So you saw how we can have multiple accounts sending a copy of those findings into Security Hub. So this score is going to be based on all of those accounts that you currently have coming in. And this dashboard gives you an overall percentage score, and then a line showing you for each of the controls, kind of how many have failed and how many have passed, to kind of give you a sense of how far off am I. Do I have a lot to fix or a little to fix? Giving you a count of the overall compliant and non-compliant rules that exist within this particular compliance standard, as well as the resources that have the most failed checks for that particular compliance organization. Clicking on the link here, we can go a little bit deeper. That's going to take us into more of a summary of each of the controls, each of the rules that exist for CIS, and the overall score and number of pass or failed checks for each of those compliance checks. So we have, four accounts that have failed or non-compliant. We have from 1.2, we actually have 3 accounts that have failed, but 1 account that has passed. It's giving you more visibility into what's going on with each of these compliance rules. If we take a little bit deeper look, let's take a look at one here, which is telling us the rule is about ensuring that there are no security groups with open internet access on port 22 or SSH. So we can see here I've got a list that covers various accounts and various security groups, but I've also got some informational ones. So these have actually passed. So I can actually get a summary of what has passed and what has failed for this overall compliance check. I can actually click on the title here and get more visibility about any one of these findings, learn a little bit more about the actual resource, dig into the account and the severity that's been assigned to that. I also could say, you know what, if I want to filter on this more, because this covers multiple accounts and I only care about this one account, clicking on this plus button will actually bring that account number up into my search criteria, and I'll now only see resources that are related to that particular account versus all of the accounts that were originally showing. Another cool thing here is that we actually give you information on how to go and fix this. So clicking on this link at the bottom for the compliance standards will actually open up our public docs that talk about here are the things that you should be thinking about and you should go about doing to actually correct and resolve this particular finding that we're showing in your account. I also have the ability here when I'm looking at these findings is to click on one of them, and this is where I actually could go and take action. So clicking on that will bring up a list of all of those actions that I showed you were defined in the settings. These are all the actions that I could possibly take for my account against this particular finding. So Security Hub also gives you insights, which are nothing more than a saved search based on things that are meaningful to you. Security Hub out of the box gives you about 25 to 30 insights that we've constructed, but you can also go and create your own custom insights, which we'll show you in a minute. And Security Hub actually gives you visibility around which ones are ones that Security Hub has created and which ones you have are custom based on this label here. So we have Security Hub Managed Insights, or it will say Custom Insights. So you know, did somebody in this organization create this, or is this one that Security Hub gave me? If we go into, we'll take a look into a specific one. We will go into number 27, top EC2 instances by counts and by findings. So this gives me more visibility about all of the resources that have made this up. A key thing to keep in mind about an insight is that it needs a group by clause in the search so that it can send you the resources and give you some graphical representation around those resources. When I go into an insight, it also gives me a little bit more information around the different AWS accounts that are making up that particular insight, the resource types, and the resource IDs. So that might give me more visibility about where I might want to drill and where I might want to take attention. I also can go in here. I could drill into the account ID even further, and I could drill into a particular resource within that account ID to get more visibility around the findings that are happening against that particular resource, all starting from my saved search, from my insight that I started with here. And once again, let's start here. Clicking on this is actually a third-party provider. This is CrowdStrike in this case. They're actually sending data in as a finding, information about EC2 instances. An important thing to call out here for third-party providers is that they actually can provide a source URL. So I can actually, if I'm using one of these partners that's giving me that source URL, I can actually use that URL, put it in a browser, and actually drill back into their platform to get more visibility about what they're seeing. Why did they create this finding for me? What information do they have that might be important for me to help make a decision around this particular finding? So it's another data point that those third-party providers are giving you. We also can go in and create our own insight. So in this case, I've just got AWS resources with the most findings. That's a pretty broad list for this particular account, and I want to drill down a little bit more. So I want to go I want to look at only things that are severity of high. So I'm going to apply that, and that's immediately going to change the number of resources that I have in here. And then I also want to look at, I only care about stuff coming from CrowdStrike because I want to focus on my endpoints right now. Can apply that. And that's going to give me a search that is going to allow me to drill into the resources that I, the person in Security Hub, care about the most. And because this is so useful to me, I can actually turn it into an insight and give it my super special name, create that insight, and now this is saved for me. Anytime I come back into Security Hub, I have this insight that I can use, and we can see it's listed as a custom insight, to drill into the things that are meaningful to me and that I want to focus on when I'm in Security Hub, or that I maybe want to make available for somebody else to see because I found an interesting way to look at our data and I want to make sure people can see it. These are here for us to look into further. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about custom actions. So custom actions, as we mentioned before, are a way for you to go in, choose a finding, and do something with it. Get it into the hands of somebody else or another one of your products. So I have 3 examples that I want to be able to show you today. The first one I'm going to show you about, we're just going to go into our findings in general, is I just have this, I want to get this into my operations team. They love Slack. That's how they work. They live and breathe it. They've got lots of bots. That's how they communicate. I want to get this in their hands. I want to make sure it's more visible to them. So I have a Slack channel set up here. Did some testing this morning. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go choose an action, and I'm actually going to go send to Slack. So this is going into CloudWatch events. It's then going to go to call a Lambda function, which is then going to send it to my Slack endpoint. Just send to Slack, successfully sent it finding to CloudWatch, and I now have a new message in Slack that allows me to get that in the hands of people who are going to do something with it. I also could, I want to get it further. I want to get it into my ticketing system. I'm really good at ticketing. I've got people that, I've got pagers that wake people up. I've got a lot of rules in place. So let's talk about maybe getting it into PagerDuty. I use PagerDuty a lot. So let's go ahead and I've got PagerDuty open. We had an incident that I sent this morning. I want to get this over to my guys in PagerDuty so that they can do something with it. So once again, I'm going to go send to PagerDuty. This is going to CloudWatch events, which is in this case is going to a target of an SNS topic, which then has a subscription to an HTTPS endpoint that is a specific REST endpoint for my PagerDuty account that it's going to send this message to. Send to PagerDuty. Oops, let's try this again. All right, let's refresh. Sorry, buddy. One sec. Sorry about that. All right. Here we go. All right. Back in business. We have our findings. I want to send it to PagerDuty. Successfully sent. Refreshing here. And there we go. I have a new instance that's shown up in PagerDuty, so it's very quick. If I'm using PagerDuty, it allows me to get in. PagerDuty parses that out, gives me more detail about that particular finding. I can now use all the other features and functions that I've grown to know and love in PagerDuty to route that on and get that into the hands of the right people and allow them to work and address that issue. The final thing I wanted to show is how I could do this custom on my own. So I have the ability to, I have a custom insight giving me some information about findings that are in my account. I'm focused on particular findings that are EC2 related, coming from GuardDuty, coming from a particular AWS account. I'm going to drill into this a little bit more, and I can see lots of different findings coming about this particular EC2 instance. I've got some, it looks like it's a little bit open to the internet and people doing various things about that. I want to go in, take a look at that instance a little bit more. So we can see that instance right now has just a default security group on it. I don't really like what's going on with this particular EC2 instance. I don't want to tear it down. I want to keep it up, but I want to change its configuration so that only my security team can actually get into this instance now and cut it off from the rest of the world. So I'm going to go in and choose an action of isolate instance. This one is going to CloudWatch. It's got a target of a Lambda function. It's just a Lambda function that I wrote that will switch the security group on the instance to a security group I've got defined as an environment variable on that Lambda function. So we go choose isolate instance. This didn't work in Chicago, so let's see if this works here in Boston. And we can see here the security group has now been switched to the security team security group. So these are 3 examples of how you can do more with the findings that you have in Security Hub, allowing you to actually get them out there, start automation, and get them in the hands of the people who need to be able to work them and do something with them in your organization. Okay, and with that, I will hand it over to Eli for a final wrap-up and close things out. Thanks,
Great.
Eli.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Scott. That was really good, really great. Just gonna wrap up with one slide. It's a simple slide. If you want to get started with Security Hub, go try out the free trial today. Turn on across all your regions, across all your accounts, and we'll give you a really good estimate of what it's going to cost you. It should be quite inexpensive. If you want to become a partner, reach out to us. We have about 100 partners in the queue right now, so there's going to be a number of additional partner integrations this year. If you're interested in learning more, we got great documentation, we got some demo videos, etc., on our website. With that, we'll stick around for a few questions. If there's any questions you want us to take publicly, we're happy to try those too. All right. Well, thank you very much.